All right, back on another episode of the Waterford FC Official Podcast. And my guest at this time is our goalkeeper, Stephen McMullan. Stephen, how are you?
Well, all good, yeah.
Good. Listen, it's a very exciting time for you, and not necessarily for club, but a big call-up this week for the Northern Ireland senior team. How does that feel?
Yeah, listen, it's always an honour to get called up to your country. Really looking forward to going well with the lads. It'll be a different sort of scenery, but one that I'm looking to thrive in. I'm looking forward to get going.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we hear it as fans all the time from players, especially when you read it in the papers and stuff like that, what an honour it is to get called up for your country. But it's great to kind of get more of an insight when you're so close in proximity to someone who's doing it. It's not your first call up for the senior team, so it's not. No, but like it's for someone so young as well, and you still are. You're 20.
Yeah,
that's
still,
incredible. Like for someone who's so young to be getting called up for the senior team, it must be an extra honour.
Yeah, just sort of have to take every opportunity as it comes, and take nothing for granted. Like, you can maybe have been lucky enough now to get called up twice or three times, but the next call up could be another 5-10 years time. Like, so you never know. So you just sort of have to keep working hard, and whenever the opportunities come around, just sort of take them. And
listen, for Northern Ireland, I suppose when I was growing up, the 90s, early 2000s, the Republic would have had, their famous World Cup campaigns and stuff like that, and it's kind of flipped on its head now, where the North are really pulling ahead. You've got some incredible players. What's it like stepping into that setup with players that are playing at such a high level?
Yeah, listen, I've sort of grew up playing with most of them from when I was younger, and it's amazing just to see what they've went on to achieve. So I just sort of take them a stride and sort of follow their footsteps and hopefully get up to the levels that they're playing at.
Yeah, and it must be once you get into the camp, they're old friends first of all, they're your peers, and then you're able to, I suppose, look at who they're learning from in their respective setups. I mean, just even take one for Conor Bradley, for example. I'm sure you know him going back so many years, and he's now playing with players like Mo Salah, Alisson Becker, of course, and then can bring that to camps with you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a few lads in the squad that I'd be close enough with through previous sort of under 21 camps, under 19 camps. So yeah, no, it's great, sort of to get around them again. And obviously when you're training with that calibre of players, just sort of try and learn as much as possible when you're around them, and just sort of, take it in your stride and see how much you can take back to your club. And it's not even
the players you're surrounded with on your own team. I mean, Germany is one of the games you're called up for this year. I mean, world champions not so long ago. Players, unbelievable players to even, I suppose, to even be there in amongst it, walking out of a tunnel with those players must be just kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, well, sort of the way I look at it is, obviously they're there, they're doing their bits and stuff, but I don't really see them as any different, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's you versus them. We're going into a game. It's a competitive game. If I get the chance to step out on the pitch, hopefully, but sort of it's you v them. So as much as it is sort of like, oh wow, these obviously they've done X, Y, and Z in the past. When it comes down to it, you sort of have to focus your mind and say they're no better than you. Like, sort of go out there and give it all.
That's the elite mentality, really, isn't it? And it's something I'm always fascinated with as well, is the mentality that you all have as professional footballers, and the sports science behind it all and stuff like that as well. But even for yourself at such a young age, to be able to separate, that kind of thing is huge. How much work do you do that on yourself personally, and how much is it that you've done with separate coaches and trainers and stuff that you have?
Yeah, I've been playing senior football since maybe I was 13, 14, back at Warren Point, and sort of being around older men from such a young age, you sort of you grow up a lot quicker mentally. Back then when I was playing, two goalkeepers there was Andy Coleman and Connor Mitchell. And they'd sort of, whenever we were struggling a bit, the club had brought in a sports psychologist. So I'd done quite a bit of work with him. I think I was only maybe 15. But I was so fortunate to have that when I was younger, to sort of implement all the good habits, as I was developing and stuff. And I still use some of the techniques that sort of he taught me then, still now. And yeah, just sort of the right habits, the right routines. Every morning, sort of break it down small steps, and then eventually when you get up to the bigger stages, when you get up to the bigger opportunities, it's no different. You've been sort of preparing, whether you're in Waterford, whether you're away in camps, whether you're anywhere really, it's the exact same. You step on the pitch, there's nothing different about it. Like,
definitely find that so fascinating myself, because I think no matter what game you're in, it's well, for me anyway, your mind is always the first thing you have to get through. It's either on your side or it's not, and if it's not, then you have to battle through that to get to the right stage. So I always admire that in high level athletes and stuff like that are able to just go somewhere else, I think, in their brain, you know. It must be extra important on the mental side of things being a goalkeeper. Would you agree with that?
oh yeah, definitely. I think if you're not on it as a goalkeeper one day, then it's very obvious. Whereas anywhere else in the pitch, you have your teammates to sort of drag you in to help you out. If you're having a bad day, someone can cover you. If nobody's covering the goalkeeper, like,
yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
it's something that's often said when you're watching commentators or even, you know, pundits and stuff like that talking about, you know, that the keeper is very much almost a lone wolf. You know, it's obviously the first line of defence, but also, as you said yourself, if you're a centre half, your full back might track back for you, your centre half partner might kind of cover you. You really are the be all and end all of it on your own. So how important is it, not just ability wise, but up here in your brain, in your mentality, that must be first and foremost.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's the most important attribute any sort of aspiring goalkeeper has if he wants to go up the levels. I think that separates them is their sort of mentality. I do countless work when I'm back home. Just constantly just keeping your mind right, because if your mind's going other places on the pitch, it really, really affects you. And you can tell straight away, especially in the position of a goalkeeper. Like, but no, it's critical that you need to sort of keep it right at all times.
Yeah, and you do hear it a lot. Oh, his head is gone. Oh, you know, or whatever after, be it a mistake or a goal conceded or something like that. And I'm talking about watching football on TV. You hear that said all the time. So, and we don't often get, I don't think, to hear from goalkeepers to hear what that the edge of that is like. So it's really interesting to actually finally get an insight on it.
Yeah, I think listen, mistakes happen. Like, I don't think you can't sort of shy away from them. They're going to happen, but it's just sort of how quickly you can recover. Making a mistake isn't sort of a lack of mentality, because it happens. It's natural, but if you can, as quickly as you can, move on from it, maybe make another match defining positive action, then at least people aren't going to be talking about, oh, well, he done that. They still might, because obviously it's a position you have, you're going to get criticised. But at least then you can go turn around, and whenever you analyse the games, when you go back home, you can say, okay, right, maybe messed up there, but at least then I had 2 or 3 positive actions to follow it, and that's sort of, I think that defines the top ones. Sort of don't let it affect you, don't let it dwindle, because if it leads into 2-3, then that's sort of what gets talked about the most.
Have you always been a goalkeeper? You're obviously very athletic and an athlete. Have you always been a goalkeeper, or was there a time you played outfield and you ended up going in goal, or how did that come about as a young boy?
Yeah, I think when I was growing up, sort of mainly was goalkeeper, maybe very young, centre back, striker, just playing under 6s, under 8s, sort of normal. And then sort of a bit under 10s, maybe I used to play for my grassroots team, Woodview Celtic, Dundalk. Playing goals, then moved to Dundalk, sort of up until maybe under 14, so I was always a goalkeeper. And then moved to Warrenpoint, and then sort of from there sort of blossomed. But no, ever since, I mean, I'd failed in other sports like Gaelic and hurling and stuff. That sort of helped me athletically. But in terms of football, now I've always really been a goalkeeper.
You played a bit of GA, did you?
Yeah.
So, but the transition from Gaelic to goalkeeper is something I've seen a good bit. Even my younger years, you'll often find various goalkeepers around the town here in Waterford would have been actually Gaelic players who just ended up in goal. The hand-eye coordination alone must have been something that helped you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Back on my team, back in Armagh, it's massive up there. Like,
absolutely.
So, even just before I moved to England, I was playing right up until minor level with Armagh, and then obviously the time came, I says, oh, well, I'm heading to England now, so I'm going to have to give it up. But no, I loved every minute.
I mean, Armagh, huge Gaelic football county, you know, All Ireland championships, all that kind of stuff. when you're playing minor for Armagh, and then I'm sure they were looking at you going, right, here's the senior footballer that we're going to have here now. Did it ever come to that where you had a choice between going to England, or were people trying to convince you to stay and play Gaelic?
Nah, I think sort of I played as much as I could, but they sort of knew my head was sort of set with the football. But they're very accommodative to it. Like they sort of would let me dip in and out of training if I had to play football, and vice versa. Like, so no, I really enjoyed it.
You mentioned Dundalk. Am I right in saying your dad's from Dundalk?
No, my dad's from Belfast, but my mum would be from Dundalk.
I was going to say there's a connection between yourself and Dundalk as a place, isn't there?
Yeah, back home I live only maybe 5-10 minutes away, so sort of probably a local town as such.
Oh right, so it's only 10 minutes away from you.
I live right in the border, so it's between sort of Dundalk and Uri.
Very good.
Sort of down South Armagh, so no, it's only right around the corner. Like.
Am I right in saying you were on the books at Dundalk for a while?
Yeah, I was there for about 6 months, 6 to 12 months. For a very young, under 15s. So it was maybe 13, 14. Wasn't really getting a kick, and then moved over to Warrenpoint then. I think the age of 13 or 14. And then from there, sort of just played away up there.
So how did the connection then to going to England come about? Is that something you had eyes on you for a while?
I think I was very young. Obviously, with Warrenpoint, they were in the in the top level of the Northern Irish Premiership. So sort of there was always eyes sort of coming up through the age groups. I think I was playing under 20s. I was maybe 13 or 14. So that straight away got me a bit of recognition. Started getting on the bench and stuff. I think I made my debut then when I was 16, 17. Got a string of games, 9-10 games, up in the Northern Irish Premiership.
That's a 16-year-old?
Yeah, just turned 17. Wow. And then from there, sort of that's what got me the move. Very fortunate. The goalkeeper at the time, Conor Mitchell, he had connections to the academy manager in Fleetwood. So they came over and watched me for a few games, and just said, yeah, we'll have a look at him, take him over, and then from there signed the following season. So no, it all worked out in the end. Yeah,
I mean, showing that kind of promise as a 16-year-old is, it's a child prodigy almost. I think when you're talking about sports, you hear 16, 17, you kind of go, yeah, okay. But when you think about a 16 or 17-year-old on the street and how young that is, it's incredible to be playing at that top level. But I mentioned to your friend and housemate, Tommy Lonergan, I had him, interviewed him at another stage as well, and I was saying how rare it is to find a good goal scorer, but surely just as rare to find a good goalkeeper. So, I'm sure Fleetwood saw this 16, 17-year-old kid and just went, oh, here's one for the future here immediately.
Definitely. I think when I first went over, to be fair, I was quite raw. I was lucky enough to have great coaches around me. So they obviously seen something that they could sort of work with, and to be fair, Fawners, Wayne Fawn Williams, he really knuckled down with me. Sort of would take me out in the evenings, work night and day, sort of trying to get stuff right with me. As a 17-year-old, took me away. Manager at the time, Scott Brown. He then gave me my debut, which I was really fortunate for. That same season I moved over. So no, first season over there was tough, technically, sort of to get everything right, but then at the end of it, sort of reaped the rewards of it, but obviously make my debut.
It's obviously a lot easier, or correct me if I'm wrong, but it must be a lot easier to go from the north over to the UK because it's in the UK, rather than, obviously there's so many rules and regulations around schoolboys in Ireland now compared to what it used to be. So was that an advantage, do you think?
It is and it isn't. I found, because I was playing senior football so young, that I was ready to go over. But I think if, say, sort of the lads over down in the south, I feel if you haven't hit the senior age groups over here, going over there, I think over here is a real advantage if you can get around first teams over here, get the experience, and then when you go over there as maybe an 18-year-old, you have the senior experience, you're going into maybe under 21 academies, and you're already sort of a man. That's where I found I was lucky enough to get it very young. But I wouldn't say it's an advantage. It's just it's very situational, like dependent. I wouldn't rush going over too early. I was lucky enough. I went over 17, which I found was still very young, but I had the experience behind me and sort of the maturity to go over and knuckle down. And I felt as soon as I went over, when I was with other lads my age, I had a massive advantage just purely because of the fact that I was already playing senior football.
You can certainly see that even from speaking to you here and speaking to you just around the club and everything like that. It's I obviously knew you were 20 when you were signing for us, but throughout the course of the season, getting to know you a little bit, it's so easy to forget that you're only 20 years of age. You seem like a man a lot beyond your years, mature beyond your years. But I think, if I think of myself as a 17-year-old, what a fucking idiot I was, going around the town, I remember I've just been on about going off out of the country, my mother begging me. I can see why now, but like, something that's standing out to me when I speak to more players on the podcast and stuff like that, they refer to it as men's football, senior football. And it's something I don't think people would really take into account. The step up from even 17s, but even 21s up to playing with men. There is a huge step up there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the biggest jump, like. Sort of you can get away with jumping up age groups, but as soon as you hit senior, it's like, it's completely different. Just the people around, just even small things like I found whenever I first moved over. I was in a changing room and straight away, even just the culture's different. Like you go from talking to your mates that are the same age as you, and then you're getting thrown into a changing room full of men, and you don't have the same social sort of connection with them. It's hard to sort of fit in. You just hope one or two that are sort of kind enough to take you under your wing, which I was lucky enough over in Fleetwood to have with sort of the goalies over there.
Yeah, so talk about some of the goalies that you had over there. I know Jay Lynch, right in saying it was Alex Cairns there when you were there?
Yeah, Alex and Jay's still there now. There's some top quality over there. Jay over there now, obviously doing well. With Dave Harrington, he's still there. We had Jakob Stolark. He's at Leicester now playing away. So he was with us for a couple of months on loan. He then left, didn't play, couldn't struggle for game time. Jay done really, really well when he first came in, when Scott Brown first came in. Yeah. And then with him leaving, then presented an opportunity to myself. Then jumped up to number 2, ahead of a couple of the other under 21 goalkeepers.
That's right, yeah.
And then then at the end of the year, got lucky enough, got my chance, and was fortunate enough to take it. But yeah, I know there's some top quality over there. And yeah, it's sort of great to have so many good goalkeepers to learn off. Not even just goalkeeping, but in terms of their mentality as well. Like the group over there is unbelievable. Work ethic, just their mindset is very, very on it, which is sort of what I like.
Seems to me anyway, from the little bit of research I've done and even just listening to there, that as a young goalkeeper, it's almost like they put their arm around you, lead you through it, rather than seeing it as competition or a spot or whatever like that. Am I right in saying that? It's more of it, the goalkeepers union is a real thing.
Yeah, definitely. There's an underlying sort of knowing we're all still competing for the jersey, but there's a lot of respect around it as well. Like, sort of they give you a helping hand, advice, all that sort of thing. Especially being the young one as well. They'd always take you through it. But if it's not the coach, it'd be one of the other goalies sort of looking after you. So no, they're really top. Goalies are top quality people.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're the best, I think.
Any goalkeepers I know have always been, and I will say that's actually true. But speaking of top quality goalkeepers and people, how's it been working with our own Brian Murphy?
Oh yeah, he's a legend. Obviously had his own playing career, but outside of that, he's just, I've loved getting to know him, getting to work with him. The group, sort of me, Igor, Brad, and Jason. We've had some tough times this year, but I think our group sort of, we're really tight knit. I'm working with them lads every day, along with Murph. He's really banded us together, and we work hard every day, and it's been great. Yeah.
Murph is a top bloke, top goalkeeper, and a top coach, from what I understand as well. And I mean, his experience alone in the various degrees of he's literally had every experience I think under the sun in his career. To learn from that beyond the other lads in Fleetwood and stuff like that, but to learn from the stuff that Murph has been through, must be amazing as well.
Yeah, I think his career speaks for itself. Like, you don't even need to really mention it. He's done everything you sort of can, and sort of that's someone I look up to. And if I can get half as good as him, I think I'll be happy. So no, he's quality to work with day in, day out.
And I think then, listen, the nature of the multi-club ownership thing, through not just our own connections, but every club that's involved in something like that, I think obviously it's very helpful because you can, you know, send young up and coming players like yourself to teams like Waterford, get you experience, gets us a great player. How much of a benefit did you see that as when you were coming here at the start of the season to get first team football?
Yeah, listen, I've grew up watching the League of Ireland, watching Dundalk, obviously their success. So
Yeah.
I knew a lot about the league before I came over. I knew the quality, and then sort of whenever they were chatting about it, I was buzzing, like exciting. I was like, oh great! I knew so much about the league, anyways.
Yeah.
So whenever the opportunity came, sort of try to grab it with both hands. Obviously, we've had the season we've had so far. But yeah, no, it's been great. Great experience.
Yeah.
Loved meeting the lads. Obviously, it's my first time playing football, like away from Fleetwood. Even with my previous loan team, I was still training with Fleetwood. So, sort of trained with Fleetwood for 3 years, playing games here, there, and then moving away. I've had a solid season, so no, it's been great.
Did you? Am I right or wrong saying that you went on loan in Wales? How was that? That's so interesting.
Brilliant, yeah. The lads down there were top. Some of the people I met down there will sort of carry relationships for the rest of my life. Like, just sort of the run we went on, we were in the Conference League. That's originally when I signed. We got through the first round, and then played League of Warsaw. Over at Demons, and then them lads were top. Like, obviously, spell got cut short through injury, but sort of playing over there was great. Some of them lads were really, really good people.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Welsh people in general are beautiful people, very like our own, I think. Yeah. And but the experience to go somewhere like Warsaw even and just take that in must have been amazing at such a young age.
Yeah, obviously scoreline wasn't the greatest, but sort of it was sort of David Goliath.
Yeah, of course.
So we didn't really. It was more the occasion, the experience. I mean, they're still a part-time club at the end of the day, like so. Yeah. Sort of coming up with travel. I'd be living in Blackpool still, travelling 2.5 hours to home games every week to in the league, and that was the closest game. So sometimes you'd be playing away, you'd be travelling maybe 4 or 5 hours down the country. So it was tough, sort of commuting and stuff, but it was well worth it. Well worth sort of the experience. I was desperate to play games at that time as well. So sort of whatever came about, just sort of would take it with 2 hands and hopefully see where it left me, which was happy enough.
You mentioned Blackpool there. I know it's very close to Fleetwood and stuff, but there's quite a connection between Waterford and Blackpool. A lot of people in Waterford, like my parents' age and grandparents, would have always holidayed in Blackpool. There was a flight from Waterford to Blackpool once upon a time, so there is a little bit of a lot of people would know Blackpool. How do you find living in Blackpool?
It was interesting. Like, we were so close to the prom, and obviously it's like a party town, like it's crazy, but I wouldn't really venture too far into it. Sort of kept outside it. Lived on my own over there for all my time over there, actually. Always lived by myself, so sort of just kept myself to myself, really. But yeah, no, it was a nice place, nice town. And yeah, no, it's good.
I was over there very recently myself at the Pleasure Beach. I'm a bit of a roller coaster fan, so had to get on the big one. Yeah. Right, so you lived alone over in Blackpool. It must be quite the difference then with the group of lads that you live with over here.
Yeah.
So you have Tommy Lonergan obviously in with you, so you know him from Fleetwood anyway. And I believe Kyle White and Sam Glenfield are with you as well.
Yeah.
What's that dynamic like?
The best. Like, them lads are unbelievable. So we all knew each other through Fleetwood anyway.
Yeah.
I'm originally moved over with Sam. Both of us, like, we're both 17 moving over. So I'd be very close to him beforehand. Played with Whitey for couple of years, roommated with him on a few away trips and stuff. So would have obviously been very close with him, and then them two obviously came over to here.
Yep.
So then during that time, Tommy was sort of the last lad. So me and him over in Fleetwood would be very close. Meet up every Wednesday, play paddle. Golf over there together, like, so. Right. No, we'd be very close. And then whenever I came over here, I heard all 3 of the lads are in the same house, 4 lads.
Yeah,
it's buzzing, like.
I'm sure that was not a coincidence that the 4 of you were put together, but it must have made that move over here so much easier.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be close enough with most of the squad anyway, so sort of any of the lads you put me in, I'd be happy enough. But I'm grateful that the 3 lads I'm with, it's unbelievable. Whenever we're all down in the house having a laugh, it's you can't really beat it.
What about you're quite clearly into athletics, or your athleticism of keeping yourself fit and stuff like that. How's that been day to day? Like outside of football, play a bit of golf, bit of paddle. You doing that here?
Yeah, still. Actually, after this, I'm heading over to hot yoga.
Nice.
I love a bit of hot yoga, so I have that. We've played golf with a few of the lads. Jason, he's not a great golfer, but he tries his best.
We're all in that.
You have him. You have a lot of the lads play. It's good crack. We haven't actually got out to play paddle yet, but we've been trying to plan it for the last 3 months, so I'd say that'll come about. Sort of keep yourself fit day to day. It's quite easy when you have loads of lads that are the same as you. You be sitting in the house in the evenings and it's sort of like, right, what are we doing? So there'll always be something going on, like, you know.
I find the hot yoga interesting. I've done a bit of yoga myself. My missus is a yoga teacher, so I know a little bit about it. But hot yoga, not so much. What's the difference between the two, just for the listener?
It's the exact same, except you're sweltering heat, in a sauna.
Yeah.
And it makes it 20 times harder because you can't breathe right. Especially I sweat like a pig. Like you're sitting there in your own puddle of sweat and you can't do anything. Like I'm crap at it, but.
Well, no, but it's supposedly very good for recovery and for loosening the muscles and keeping you a bit more loose than usual.
No, it's I just sort of do it for enjoyment and boredom. Like it's sort of the more you do it, the better you get at it. So sort of just keep sticking at it, and it'll have some benefits.
And in the gym, do you lift a lot of weights, or like because you're a big lad, deceptively big as well, even for a goalkeeper. Is that something that you do? Like I know obviously you're doing a bit in the gym with Dara and stuff like that, but do you do your own bit of weight training as well? Have your own program?
Yeah, Dara's top. Like he's one of the best sort of people I've met as well. But in terms of his work, he's quality. But yeah, from a young age, like maybe say 14, 15 still, like as soon as sort of I was up with the older lads, it's been something I've been massive on. It says, you can't always get in the pitch, but the gym will always be there. Like so from a young age, I've sort of been in the gym flat out. And then whenever I moved over to Fleetwood, I had a physical stature about me anyway, so that's why I was ready to go straight into the first team.
Sure.
And they were massive on it. The goalie coach over there as well, we had like a goalies union sort of. We'd always in every Tuesday and doing chest or in doing sort of, it was like a cult almost like. And then over here, then sort of just keep on top of it. Have my own. I follow a lot of Dara stuff. Dara's very, very good. And then sort of have to manage my load between sort of getting better, but also managing for the games as well. So I have like a very fine balance. And it's something I really, really enjoy doing, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it's very evident, the physicality and as you said, the stature, and it's probably important in the modern game as a goalkeeper to have that physical presence as well. Always was, but I feel like players are getting bigger, stronger. Outfield, the keepers have to follow suit as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think sort of I do a lot of work off the pitch in terms of mentally, and sort of a big thing mentally that helps me is the gym. So if I'm in the gym, I know I'm doing everything I can. Then mentally it gives me a sort of satisfaction anyway. So sometimes it's not even about the pitch. Sometimes it's just about getting your head right. And it's one of the tools I use, and it's something that keeps my head screwed on.
I think just to kind of go on about that mentality thing that you have, obviously midway through the season there was a little bit of you were left out of the team for one of the games. Obviously that game in particular was a disaster. But next game around, you're back in the team and you get a man of the match. I think that's a testament. I remember being able to tell you, bring you over to get the man of the match and congratulating you because it was so well deserved. It was a Cork game, wasn't
it?
Yeah. But how much of that is down to what you're talking about with mentality? A lot of people could take that, okay, I've been left out. Fair enough. Brad came in, it didn't work out that way. I don't think he was at fault for any of those goals necessarily. But then you come back in and put it, and it was what a display that was against Cork in a Munster derby to get man of the match. That must have meant a lot first of all, but also how much of that is down to your own mentality and what you've learned.
Yeah, I think the manager made the decision. I wasn't one to question it. I says, okay, if that's his decision, go for it. But I don't want to give any excuses or any sort of. I want to prove him wrong. Like that's sort of my job. You don't really get much sitting around crying about it. Like you get straight back on the ball. Obviously, unfortunately, the game went the way it went for Brad. I agree. I don't think he was at fault for many of the goals at all. But then obviously got my chance. That's just the way football happens. Sort of just stuck to my own routines, beliefs, like sort of, I know what works for me and what doesn't. So it was just more of a case of just getting back to what you know, back to being your best, getting them wee habits and routines back in check, and then obviously the game panned out the way it did against Cork, which I was fortunate for. But yeah, it was obviously satisfying sort of to get taken out of the team, to get back in. It sort of gave you a breather as well.
Yeah.
It was sort of a mental reset of okay, I'd never taken anything for granted anyway. But that was a real sort of reality check. Okay, if you're not on it, that's what happens. So don't do it again. Pretty much.
And even like at the start of the season, you had a real baptism of fire. That game against Sligo, crazy opening day of the season. But like you saved the penalty on your debut, your full debut. That must have just been crazy.
Yeah. No, I was away from home, obviously so far away. I didn't really know what to expect, to be fair. Like I knew about the league, but sort of when you step onto the pitch, it's completely different. Sort of everyone roaring and shouting. You see all the lads over in the corner setting off their flares and stuff. It's class. Like, but yeah, no, obviously it's grateful for the way that game went, and then sort of just carried on. But no, it was a special night, definitely.
A lot of football left to play still. As we record this, there's 8 games left. As this goes out, there'll be 7 left. So still a lot of football left to play. As a man who only lives 5 or 10 minutes from Dundalk, are you a little bit disappointed that Dundalk aren't in the Premier League this year?
Yeah, no, I was hoping we'd get into the cup, like.
Yeah.
But no, it's unfortunately, but sure, that's just the way it happens, isn't it?
Well, look, as I said, still a lot of football left to play. Still a good few games for you left with us while you're here with us on loan. But what I want to say is best of luck for the camps in the coming weeks and on international. We're all delighted for you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Stevie.
it.